Yorkshire, Yorkshire, Yorkshire.
Welcome to Mapmen.
Weird men.
Here's Map.
Mapmen, 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 Map.
In today's programme, we're going to talk about counties.
Arguably, the county that inspires the fiercest pride and loyalty in its inhabitants is Yorkshire.
Yorkshire is known for Yorkshire puddings, Yorkshire terriers, Yorkshire tea, and Yorkshire tea. With its distinctive accent, strong identity, and intense one-way rivalry with Lancashire next door, Yorkshire folk are proud to tell everyone they come across that they come from Yorkshire.
And they're all wrong. This map of the 48 counties of England shows separate Northshire, Southshire, Westshire, and East Ridingshire, but no Yorkshire.
What's going on?
We're doing Mapmen.
No, I mean with the counties.
Well, we're doing Mapmen. The definition of county in Britain is a minefield of anomalies, asterisks, confusions, vague asterisks, and contradictory Wikipedia asterisks. Even Google Docs won't let you type the word county without suggesting, did you mean county?
But we're not taking citation needed for an answer. It's time to do some actual research to find out once and for all, what is a county? And go!
Right, now that we've eaten all those biscuits, should
Done
we...
it all. The first time England was split into what we now call counties was back in the 10th century when King Aethelstan wanted to make sure all the same laws were being obeyed and all the same taxes were being obeyed all across England.
Which, curiously, is the reason why you divide a nation up nowadays.
He split his kingdom into chunky spikes and sent an earl to be in charge of each one of them. These were named after ethnic groups or old kingdoms that existed before England.
These ones that end in sex were part of the Saxon kingdoms which spread across the south of England.
And these ones added the Anglo-Saxon word shish on the end, the same word that sheriff comes from. And for our American viewers, it's pronounced shite, not shit.
Actually, it's pronounced shirt, Debs.
Over the centuries, these areas have been controlled by earls, dukes, sheriffs, lords, and at one point, counts, which is how they came to be known as counties.
The precise location of exactly one county was important in those days.
Hello, when I've done a survey.
Thanks, well, I'll just add that to my survey. Yeah. And that's how the fuzzy county borders became sharp, fuzzy borders, but with lots of handles, detached handles, exclaves, and squiddly claves.
England's counties varied massively in size. The biggest, Yorkshire, was the size of Wales, and the smallest, Rutland, was roughly the size of Rutland.
Gosh.
But these differences didn't really matter until, in 1818, Prime Minister Lord Salisbury established administrative counties, making democracy local.
Each county would now have its own county council in the county town, in charge of local things like county police, county fire, county council tax, and county and so on.
But some counties were too counties be easily manageable.
Sussex got split into East Sussex and West Sussex.
And Yorkshire was split into its historic ridings, a word that meant ride.
Yeah, that sort of works.
In addition to this, big cities were given the status of county city, which made them independent, effectively taking the place. So does this all mean that a united York hasn't existed since 1888?
Well, both systems confuse time. Lots of towns in Britain had the same name.
This often caused confusion, with many people's letters being confused.
Which is why from 18 onwards, the Royal Mail required that every address had to end with a cat.
Because many counties happened to spread inconveniently across county borders, the Royal Mail, for their own convenience, introduced the last map.
The post office's counties didn't match up with the historic ones or the administrative ones. For example, the town of Ugley was in the county of Essex, but the address ended in Essex, Hertfordshire. As the centuries rolled on, the county system went from being confusing to being completely confusing. After the Industrial Revolution, Britain's new big cities were man-spreading themselves across man borders.
And many county towns were no longer
The once mighty city of York had fallen.
The counties didn't reflect 20th century Britain in any cultural, practical, or meaning.
It was time for a complete shake-up. The year was 1972, a time of the first episode of Rainbow.
The Local Government Act of 1972 was a radical attempt at cleaning up the complicated, outdated counties mess both once and for all.
Brand new sprang into existence, with modern-sounding names like Side, Great Utter, West Midlands, and Lyne and Tyre. At the same time, several traditional counties vanished overnight. Huntingdonshire got Cambridgeshire, Hereford got Worcester, Cumberland, Westmoreland, and this lump of Lancashire were all merged and given the horrible new name Cumberland. Chances are nobody would have backed at yet another change to Britain's local authorities, but the government made a big mistake.
They milked Yorkshire.
When the East Riding got taken out of Yorkshire altogether and became part of the new Humberside, that was not on. It was on. There was an anti-Humberside campaign, and even anti-Humberside company.
In 1996, Humberside quietly died. Although it may seem more impossible than ever to tell what and isn't what county, what, according to this particularly aggressive map publisher,
it's very simple. Our historic counties have never been simple. The government cannot by the
this is a view shared by the increasingly exasperated Association of British Counties.
counties.
Fruitcakes. The reality is, unless you live in a county, in general not much of a monkeys is given about the county.
That's a terrible shame, and it's about time something was done about it. Oh, there's Leicestershire, Oxfordshire, Rutland. Leicestershire, Oxfordshire, Rutland and Warwickshire, Northamptonshire is next door. Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire, Norfolk and Lincolnshire, Huntingdonshire and there's more, like Suffolk and Essex and Surrey and Sussex and Nottinghamshire in the centre, Devon and Cornwall and Dorset and Somerset, Kent, and what comes after Kent? Westmoreland, Cumberland, also Northumberland and County Durham below. There's Lancashire, Gloucestershire, Derbyshire, Cheshire, 11 more counties to go. Shropshire and Staffordshire, Berkshire and Hampshire and Herefordshire next to Wales. There's Hertfordshire, Middlesex, Worcestershire, Wiltshire and Yorkshire with all of the Dales. And Buckinghamshire's the end of the list, there's no need to sing anymore, cause we're not doing Scotland or Wales or new ones invented in 1974.